Boom, welcome back. Welcome back, y'all. Hope everybody had a good holiday. I think I was on here Christmas Day, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, I wanted to come back to you with season 4, the last season, final season of Bel-Air, episode 4. Got my notes down. Now, on episode 3, I wasn't paying attention when Carlton lied about his almost drowning, overdosing in a pool, and that he actually got that from Amira's story. Remember last season, Mira was the one that OD'd, almost drowned in the pool. So he used her story to get sympathy for the Princeton scout. And of course, Amira had used her own story. So the lady at the school called them both down there, and she accused Amira of stealing the story. And instead of Carlton speaking up and saying, hey, I'm the one that stole her story, that really actually happened to her, he didn't say nothing because, excuse me, he didn't say nothing to her because he's fiending to get into Princeton so bad. I'm sorry, I just feel like that was jacked up. Like, that's a serious, this girl almost died. I understand Amira wasn't the most liked character last season, but you sit here slobbing at the mouth trying to get into Princeton, like, he turned me off with that. So Aunt Viv is, pregnant, showing, so she's taking, I think they're called Lamaze. Weren't they called Lamaze classes back in the day? Where they pretty much teach pregnant women, like, okay, while you're in labor, the breaths you take, how to position yourself during labor and everything like that. So, with Aunt Viv being older, I think she's like, 40s maybe? A lot of the other women there are younger, so she's feeling a little out of place. They're a little more into, like, when it comes to babies, like apps, a little more modern techniques. And she had her children in the early 2000s or mid 2000s or whatever. So she's feeling a little out of place, but she does run into one of her, I guess you could say, quote unquote, friends, the girl that kissed Uncle Phil. Was it last season where she kissed Uncle Phil and then was trying to like hide from Manville? So she decided, I think she went the IVF route and decided to, just have her own baby. And a lot of women are doing that. It's like, instead of trying to get married, you're trying to find a guy and all this stuff. It's like, okay, I'll just do IVF, sperm donor, have my own baby, right? So she did connect a little bit with her. They talked and caught up and everything. I thought it was going to be some mess because, when the episode first started, they backtrack, and so they showed the episode that she was on and some scenes from that. So luckily it wasn't no issue. The baby's not Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil's okay. No, nothing like that going on. So Carlton gets accepted into Princeton off of his little sad sob story that wasn't partially true. So going through my notes. So Jazz, and this is in no particular order, is, he has the record store, the vinyl shop. Well, he's trying to get into cannabis because, if I'm not mistaken, it's legal in Cali. I think it's illegal for recreational use. Excuse me, I don't know where this yawn is coming from. So he's trying to get that up and off the ground. So if you are familiar, for those of you that grew up in the 2000s, the show Girlfriends, Miss Tony Childs makes an appearance on this episode. She's an appearance as one of Aunt Viv's friends, and she also works in the field of, I guess, like with businesses. That's how she runs into Jazz. And she knows that Jazz knows the family, the Banks, right? Why did she hit on this man? And it's crazy because even though him and Hillary are not together, it's like you were still dating Hillary for a little minute. This is your friend's aunt play on. It was just too messy. Like, girl, why are you mixing business with pleasure, okay? So, Will and Carlton smashed up that Jeep, right? Because of the whole kidnapping situation. And they got arrested briefly and all this stuff. So they're in this program called Promising. I want to say Promising Scholars so bad. Because they have a program like that here. Well, it's not like that, but it's called Promising Scholars here in Tennessee. But it's a totally different program. But this, Promising Choices, is something that people do basically to stay out of jail. Maybe this is how they do some of their time. Community service and stuff like that. So we see another guest star, Snoop Dogg. He is the instructor of this class. He done already assigned Will and Carlton bash because he knows everybody's offense, right? So it was cool to see Snoop on here, as always. Anytime Snoop is guest star, his acting has definitely gotten a lot better, because when he first started acting, I was like, sir, no. So Phil and Jeffrey, got to get this situation going with this money laundering and money washing thing. And they have to have it go through different businesses. And he approaches Jazz and he's like, look, I'll give you some money for your cannabis business. Now, Jazz does not know that he's going to be involved in this scheme. So I'm like, okay, I know Uncle Phil is not going to steer anybody wrong, so there's got to be a method for the madness. There's got to be some reason he's doing this, but it's just crazy. Like, somebody's like, hey, I'm going to help you with your business, and they got you into some illegal stuff, and you don't know nothing about it. So that's what's going on with that. And Viv gets Lisa and Jackie reacquainted. I forgot for what reason, but she was saying, you guys both have lost your mothers. Like, Lisa's mother passed, and then Jackie's mother's just not a part of her life. And, they were at odds with one another because I think, I know Will wasn't going with Jackie, but I think he was, like, talking to her or something. What, season 2, 3, if I'm not mistaken. So, Lisa was kind of having issues. Remember that one scene last season where she was like, dang, B, are you some kind of something? It was just like, I don't care for her character. They just don't have chemistry. Him and what's that girl name? Him and the Jackie character have more chemistry to me than him and Lisa, but not going to argue with the casting, okay? So, back to the first day of promising choices. They have to come back to do community service. And so Will goes to this party because he's trying to get in touch with something about basketball. And Carlton's like, look, we got to meet Snoop Dogg back at the place to do the community service. So, of course, they end up being late. Something that I love about this show, though, I love how they pay homage to the OG Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. If you remember it was a 5th or 6th season. I think Will and Carlton were in Vegas gambling, and it's a scene where it's like dun 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 da 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 da, right? So they had Carlton do that because Amir was like, well, look, if you want to make up for Stealing My Little Story, you got to do this little dance. And so Carlton's doing it first, and then Will joins in. And I just absolutely love it because, for those of us that are fans of the OG show, we see those, what are they called? Easter eggs? Eggs, whatever, when you catch something. Also, if you, let's say you've never seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? And you're watching Bel-Air, that's still a cute scene. So I love when a scene can be entertaining for both people who understand where it's coming from and for people who think it's like, dude, you get what I'm saying? So Lisa and Jackie were in the car talking and just having a little moment. Now, the way TV is nowadays, you never know where someone's going to go. I thought they were going to have them have some kind of lesbian action in the car. I'm sorry. You just never know. I thought this was what they're gonna do, because they were sitting in the car talking. But Jackie was basically just talking about her mom and how her mom is a deadbeat. We're gonna keep it real. But she ends up calling her mom and telling her about that she got into Juilliard. You know, this is a time where everybody's getting into their schools and stuff. I think Lisa got into Howard and she's gotten into Juilliard because, you know, she's the dancer, Jackie. And so I thought that was sweet. So, of course, they end up being late for Promising Choices. And Snoop closed the door on them. And so they sat out there and waited. And Snoop was like, you know what? You do have 3 chances. He said, don't be late again, right? Which I think that's cool. I think that's great. You got to show, I don't want to say tough love, but you gotta, the kids need that. They need structure, discipline, and love. You know, I think a lot of times adults, parents just looked at the discipline, strict part, but you got to show these children love as well. You got to let them know that you believe in them, not just do as I say, do what I tell you, and that's it. That's not going to work. So when Snoop walked off, they started playing one of his songs from his first album, Doggy Style. So I like that. Whoever's in the writers' rooms did a good job, man. So Carlton ends up writing Amira another essay, which I feel like he should have, because she was talking about, you know, well, I'm not gonna be too mad at you because I did lie about having a dead sister and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I understand that. That's why we couldn't stand you last season. But I still feel like Carlton was wrong for that. And it's like, you know what? I guess the least you can do is write this girl a new college essay. Since you pretty much got into Princeton off of some sad sob half-truths. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Episode 4 is good. I really, like I said, I love the Easter eggs. I love the paying homage. Am I using the right word? Paying respects, I'll say that, to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, an iconic show. It's mainstream too, not just black culture, but definitely, you know, in the black culture, we do have our shows that are like, man, our show, this is something that we sit around the TV and watch. But Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was mainstream. It people of all races, all ethnicities love it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that it's getting shouted out with this new reimagining of Bel-Air. I actually was against the reimagining a few years ago. I was like, man, I hate when they take old shows and they try to do them again. But if you're going to do it, this is how you do it. Instead of trying to totally recreate the show, take some aspects from that show, add some new things, and this is how it's done. In my opinion, Bel-Air is how you reimagine a classic sitcom, and it doesn't tarnish the other sitcom's name. You see what I'm saying? Like, both can stand as two great shows. All right, shout out to my 182 subscribers. Shout out to the rest of you as well who are not subscribed, but you know you can by hitting that button for me. I very much appreciate it. Peace and blessings to every last one of you watching. Until next time.